Hi, I'm Melvin York, and you're listening to Gardening with Daddy Pete. Today, we want to hit on just a few things. Maybe you're a new gardener, or you've only been gardening a year or two, and maybe you've had some great success, maybe not so much. Maybe you've had a problem in an area or two. And even if you have been gardening for a while, um, there are usually several things that we make mistakes doing or we don't know to do sometimes. So we want to go over those today and maybe help you out a little on that. Whatever gardening you're doing, you can go to our website, and we do provide a soil, whether it be raised bed or container gardening, row gardening, top dressing, whatever you need at Daddy Pete's. We do provide that. It's mulching, whatever. So let's get into this. And here is the big one. This is one that I fight myself. It's been all winter. And first thing I want to do is the first sign of warm weather, I want to get out and start planting. Now, that's good on some things, but when we start, and I don't know why, if you don't grow your own transplants or whatever, a lot of these companies will start sending out tomato plants, pepper plants, all at the wrong time. And be honest with you, most of the time they show up 3 to 4 weeks too early. One good thing that we do have here in North Carolina, you can go back through the extension page, look at our average frost dates, things like tomatoes, peppers. You want to plant your watermelons, your cantaloupes, pumpkins, all of those things you want to do after that last frost, when the ground warms up. Now, I know, my neighbor planted a tomato plant, and he took a 5-gallon bucket and he covered it up, but you look real well and watch close, you're going to find out that your tomatoes are not going to be too far behind his, and you did not have to cover up or go through the worry of losing your plant due to frostbite or freeze. One thing that I do encourage you to do, especially as a new gardener, and even if you've been gardening for years, I encourage you to keep a kind of a diary, keep a list of what you're planting, when you planted it, what was the temperature, what variety you planted, and at the end of the run, what kind of summer did we have temperature wise, and then what was my yield. Sometimes I like to try 2 or 3 different varieties. Like if I have room for green beans, I'll try 1 or 2, see which one done the best. Tomatoes, peppers, try those around. Yes, I've always used this type tomato, but it's okay to try something different too. You may like the flavor, you may not, and the yield may be better on one than the other. Another thing is planting all at the same time. Most people go in, so I'm gonna plant all my beans at one time, so they all come on at one time. And then if you're not canning or freezing that, then you've got a handful too many of something to eat. So plant those in stages, usually a couple to 3 weeks apart. That way you'll have them coming in all the time. A lot of things we can plant to save space, especially if you're doing raised bed gardens. One thing, a lot of people like to plant corn, and that takes up quite a lot of nitrogen and a lot of space. But a good nitrogen fixer, a plant to go along with that would be a climbing type green bean or a pole bean to plant beside that. The corn stalk will give the bean support that it needs, and the green bean will help fix the nitrogen that the corn needs. Now, if you're going to do that, you want to make sure that your corn's up about 4 to 5 inches high before planting the green beans. You want to give the corn a chance to outrun the bean. Okay, so just remember that. And another thing is, interplanting like that really does work well. Watering. Are you watering too much? Are you watering too little? The best thing to do is take your hand, go down in the soil an inch, inch and a half, and see if it's, real wet. Is it moist, or is it just wet on top and dry on the bottom? And that kind of gives you an idea how long it takes that soil to get wet in this temperature. Do I stand with a hose on it for 2 minutes? Is it 5 minutes? And you'll get to where you can see that. So too much or too little watering is a bad thing. You don't want it standing in water, or you do, and a good chance that you'll get root disease in your plants with too much. Again, you don't want to rob the air from the plant and totally drench it with water and it being in a standing state. Don't go too exotic on things. I've got people that's, have planted 8 different types of sweet potatoes. Stay with the ones that's good for your family. The old tried and true Beauregard, Puerto Ricans, if you like the standard red sweet potato, they save good if you have a cool place to keep them. And, try that first before you get too exotic on planting, different colored corns and, kind of just stay like that, especially if you're limited on space. Stay with the old tried and true. Now, if you have kids, and we would go back to talking about planting your corn in there, and you like snacks for your kids, here's the thing you can do too that'll also work well with those beans. Plant popcorn. Popcorn stalk grows a little smaller, and you can let it dry, shell it. You can throw the bag of it in the freezer, put it in your air popper, or store in a jar. Snacks, good healthy snack for your children, and you've grown it yourself. It's provided a support for your green beans, so it works wonder. If you don't want to take the chance on growing a small amount of corn, grow popcorn, and that's something that if your family likes, works well. Okay. We don't want to neglect the best friends that we have, and that's our bees, our pollinators. Make sure that while you're doing insect repellents or whatever, that it does not harm our bees, because without them, we get no fruit whatsoever. Now, another thing you may think of is, do you have an abundance of squirrels, chipmunks, rabbit, deer? They're pretty walking around in the yard, but they will devour your garden. So you may need to use some type of fencing or netting around there to repel that. And, don't overplant, but don't underplant. And that's something that you have to adjust on according to your family or what you like. One other hint here, things are easy to grow, but let's just say that one of you likes carrots in the family and everybody else doesn't. I don't know, just a few carrots, but plant what your family will use. And I would plant things that I could also either save the seed of or freeze your can. Also enjoy them now, but put parts up for the winter. Just like I said, the popcorn, the sweet potatoes, the potatoes, things like that. That if you have a cool place to keep them, works well. All right. Well, hopefully that's helped some of you. And if you'd like to go back and look at some of the archives of our podcast, you can do that just by going to our website, daddypete's.com. And while you're there, sign up for our free e-newsletter that you can get that through your email. Also, take a chance and, or if you have a chance, look at our products online, our different products. We've got something to help you between, again, any type of soil for the job you're doing or mulches. And if you get a chance, look at our about page. Well, this is Melvin York and Gardening with Daddy Pete. We have a slogan on our bag, and we truly do mean it. We help you grow. And that's one reason we're doing these podcasts. We really want to see you be successful in your gardening. I think that is the most joy I get when I can see a new gardener be successful. So again, you're listening to Gardening with Daddy Pete, and I'm Melvin York, and we'll see you next time.